Hey guys, it's Martin here from Schink Art, and yeah, today I'm just gonna talk about finding your art style, and while I'm gonna be showing a time-lapse drawing of something I did in my own style. So I've been getting a lot of questions regarding an art style, lots of artists trying to draw stuff from my Instagram page, which you can follow at Schink Art on Instagram if you're on there. So I've been finding lots of artists that are drawing or illustrating copies of my art, and not in a bad way, like it angers me, but I can see that they're trying so hard to duplicate what I've done, or in other cases, artists are trying to duplicate what artists they look up to have created, and they're trying to duplicate or copy that style almost identical, and that's not a bad thing, but that's not the way. So today I just want to talk to you about this topic, and yeah, and maybe give you some insights that can help you develop your own art style and take your art further. So yeah, art style, just a bit of background surrounding my art style, or how I found it. I think many artists, uh, they begin their journey trying to look for their art style and trying to explore different styles and get to what they want to create. For me, this was a bit the other way around. I started with a very specific art style, influenced by manga and on-screen anime that was shown on television when I was in school, stuff like Pokemon and Dragonball Z, and yeah, that mainly influenced my artwork. And then also arcade games of like Street Fighter and stuff like that. I remember as a child just putting in like a coin just to select the characters on screen to see that the character art that was done on that arcade game. So mainly manga based influence. So other artists go into a whole journey and a panic to find an art style just for the sake of having an art style. Now, having an art style is something that came new. That there was something new to me when I started Instagram and following some artists, and I realized that people are actually wound up about not having an art style, or they're in mystery about not having an art style. But hopefully today I can bring you some clarity regarding this, and maybe just give you some assurance that you have an art style, or that it's slowly forming as you're going. So, as I mentioned, now the first thing that I want you to look at is just what influences your art. This is a question that I think you can answer, and it doesn't even have to be something that influences your art. Maybe it's just something that influences you, something that you enjoy watching. As I mentioned earlier, that I watched like Pokemon, the first Pokemon when I was in school, and Dragon Ball Z, and stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh, and the arcade games. So that was stuff that naturally garnered my interest as an artist, or just as a kid, just being interested and fascinated by the art that those fandoms displayed. So I suggest maybe just write down, or just think about it. What are the stuff that influences you? Maybe it's like movies that isn't even art, or like animation movies, Pixar. I'm big into Pixar as well. Or it's just sport. I'm not sure. It can be anything. Everyone is different, and they have their own set of things that they like. So This is just a guide to maybe just open your eyes to what you like, because this is what makes you unique. Every person has a different interest, and therefore the stuff that they will be influenced by will be different, and the cocktail mix of the stuff that they're influenced by will definitely be different for every person. The stuff I mentioned in my example, mix that in with like Pixar movies, anime, comics, TV games, wrestling. It's not going to be the same as your influence, and that's fine. So that's the first way I want to assure you that you definitely have an art style, is that you are different from me, you're different from the other artists, and you're different from the big artists you're following on Instagram or social media, because your interest is what sets you apart. Okay, so now that I have that covered, the second step is, well, this is just something that came naturally to me, is by creating fan art of the specific fandoms of the things that I was interested in, taught me a lot about what it is that interests me of that specific topic or fandom. And this is something that came naturally to me. I was fanatic about, for example, Pokemon in the beginning when I started watching that, and I wanted to draw Pokemon. And even sometimes I traced them from pictures that I had in magazines, and I cut them out and I colored them. And sometimes I tried to draw them myself, maybe when I was 13 or 14, I'm not sure the age. And when I watched Dragonball Z, I started drawing Goku and Vegeta and all of those characters, and I even stopped, like, pause the television, a fuzzy image, to like draw the still screens. So I waited for that. I recorded the episode on the national broadcast of the television. I paused that screen for that moment, maybe with Goku giving Kamehameha or Vegeta doing Gallic Gun. I could really go into detail here, but just for the sake of what I'm trying to tell you, I paused it and I tried to capture that image on screen. So creating fan art was just a natural flow, and eventually I started making my own characters in the Dragon Ball Z style, so it would look like characters that would easily walk into the television show. And later on it was wrestling. I tried to draw my own wrestlers, and this was all just on paper. But I'm just rambling, so I'm just trying to get my head back to the conversation here. What I'm just trying to say is that fan art should be a natural step. If you look at your influences, it should be a natural next step. It's not a must. Maybe you don't draw, I'm just going to go with the example again, maybe you don't draw like Goku because you're into Dragon Ball Z. You just draw art that kind of resembles that style, or maybe it's a mix of stuff. But if you're an artist, influence, you are not immune to influence from what you see. Okay, so the next part that I want to tell you about style, or what my notes are on it, is that there's not a fixed recipe to get a style as an artist. It's not like do these 3 things and jump through these hoops. There's no recipe. The only thing that I can tell you is that the more that you draw, the more that you create, and the more that you govern your influences, your art style will kind of be formed on its own. It will manifest by itself. So for example, if you continue drawing these fan art portraits, those trademark things will kind of blend into your style, or you draw fan art of a big artist that you like on social media. Those nuances that they have in their art will kind of blend into your style, but as you draw more of it and more of it, it will become more of your art and not the artist that you started to copy initially. So yeah, there's no fixed recipe, just relax, be influenced, and draw as much as you can. And don't marry a specific artwork, just get the repetitions out. Not everything you draw has to go to social media, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just draw for the sake of developing yourself, and create awesome stuff. Just an example, I'm a professional artist and I draw like maybe 10 plus stuff on a day, which 2 or 3 will maybe be used as a final product or a social media post. It's just about getting those repetitions out, and those repetitions will form your art style automatically. And even if you go by copying anyone's art or a fandom, even if you do that, it will just initially just turn into you and your interests. Yeah, that's kind of my take on what an art style is and what it's supposed to be. But if I just can define it, maybe on the back end of someone who has developed an art style for themselves over time, it's something that's just it flows from you without you even have to think like, I have to draw the nose this way and the eyes look this way and these are the proportions. It's something that kind of over time just flows naturally out of your hands when you start creating, and it's something that in terms of style that you don't have to think about. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. So just govern your influences and keep on creating as much as you can, and you'll see that you'll form your own awesomeness, your own style, and when you place it next to your original influences, it will be nothing like that. My style, like for example, I was influenced by Dragonball Z and numerous others, and I published a children's book with that style, and it didn't even resemble it, but you can see that the foundations were the same initially. And yeah, so keep on creating, don't fuss this little stuff, and your style will become its own thing. It will become strong, it will stand out because it's you, it's not anyone else, it's just you. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps you find a style. Yeah, this was kind of the video. So if you haven't seen, I've started a Patreon page with a comic that I'm very passionate about. You can check it out in my link, the link in my Instagram bio, or just search for Schink Art on Patreon if you want to support me there. Your support makes these videos possible and all the fan art that I create. I know lots of my fan base are wrestling fans, and those I don't get paid for those, so by you guys supporting me on Patreon, it helps me to put out more art, more fan art, and more things that I'm passionate about. So check it out, and yeah, if you want more videos like this, I'll try to do a few in a month. Also do nice art tutorials and time-lapse drawings for those of you who want to check those out on my YouTube channel. Here on YouTube it's Schink Art. And yeah, what more can I tell you about? Just remember that you're an artist, you're unique. It's an awesome skill to have, it's an awesome talent to be out there creating art for the world. It's a privilege, it's something that No one else can do the way that you are doing it and the way that you are applying it. So don't give up on yourself. Don't stress those little things. Just live out your passion, live out for that moment that you are creating. It's about that, enjoying that specific moment. It's not about drawing for the masses or for people out there. It's about enjoying the moment and being yourself. And that's the thing that's going to take your art and going to make your art style stand out. So yeah, sorry, I'm rambling here. I hope that you guys I hope that you guys enjoyed this. May you have an awesome journey as an artist. It's me. I'm out. See you next time. Cheers.